We're really proud of really working with the restaurant industry. They were targeted by people like Fauci. They were just supposed to be closed forever. I mean, like, that's just not. And so our view was, everyone has a right to work, the chefs, the servers, all these folks. The businesses have a right to be open, and then you as an individual can choose to go or not to go as you deem appropriate. And so if that is something that you believe is very risky environment, then by all means, make whatever decision's best for you, but to kneecap them and not let them do. So we were able to really make sure to clear the way from them, and it wasn't really the state in terms of what we were, but it was like making sure local governments couldn't shut them down. I mean, that was really the key thing, to say you can't shut them down on a local level. And so that gave, I know, a lot of people an ability to get in business, hire a lot of people, get people back to work, but then also the number of new restaurants that have started there's no place that's doing better for restaurants than the state of Florida. It's just a really good place to be for it. There's a lot of demand, and they know that they have the ability to do it. And so we were, really happy. I remember we did an event summer of 2020 close by at Okeechobee Steakhouse. And, because you had all these people saying, you can't have restaurants open, all this other stuff. And you know what? Listen to the bartender, listen to the butcher, listen to all these people. What would happen if they weren't able to have a job or come to work? And a lot of people didn't care about that, but we cared about it, and we wanted to make sure that they were able to put food on the table for their families. And so we were proud of standing with that industry, and we're also proud to just see how it's blossomed in the state of Florida over the last 2 years in particular. We're also proud of what we've been able to do to protect people's jobs from COVID vax mandates. And you had a number of people. You had a number of people advocating policies that you shouldn't be allowed to work unless, you get this COVID vax. And then it would be, boosters infinitum, and if you got vaxxed but didn't want a booster, then you would lose your job. And we said that's unacceptable in the state of Florida. People have a right to make their decisions on this and should not be tied to their ability to earn a living. So we did a special session of the legislature when it looked like people may start to lose their jobs, and we provided protections, and we saved tens of thousands of jobs throughout the state of Florida by taking action on that. And the thing about it is, it's not right to do, and it's not right for anyone to lose their job over this, but some of the people in the most critical industries that we have shortages of, you would have basically been saying that they can't do. So you look at healthcare and these nurses. A lot of those nurses did not want to do a COVID shot. Many of them have had COVID and have immunity through prior infection, which the CDC wouldn't recognize for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and now they only begrudgingly recognize it. But that's just kind of a basic evidence-based principle. So we protected, we don't enforce the CMS mandate. They are able to go on Florida law and claim whatever exemption they want to stay employed. But what ended up happening is you had states around the country that would fire the unvaccinated nurses, and then they'd have shortages. And so you would have nurses who had already recovered from COVID, were perfectly healthy, but didn't get vaccinated. They would not bring them in to fill spots, but they would bring in nurses who had gotten the shot but were currently COVID positive. So they're actually bringing COVID positive nurses back to work because we know you can still spread it even if you've had it. And that just shows you, how insane this was, that you would be doing that. And it wasn't about health at that point. It was about authority and power, and it was more of an ideology. And so we were happy to be able to do that. And now you have a lot of people that want to be nurses in Florida and these other positions. But another one was the truck drivers. They wanted to fire these truck drivers based on COVID vax. And so we made sure to protect that. You lose even 5% of your truck drivers Do you think that's going to help the supply chain problems that we're seeing? I mean, people can't get the materials that they need because of all the nonsense that's happened throughout this country and even throughout the world. So we were happy to be able to do that and protect the jobs of a number of people. So we have one of the truck drivers with us here today with Walpole, Kirk Corwin.